Hi everyone, Michael from Bullion Now, bullionnow.com.au. It's actually a public holiday this morning, so I'm actually taking a little bit of time and I'm clearing out some of the vaults and just coming across some items that, you know, we don't sort of push with Bullion Now at all. We're very focused on the bullion side of things for good reasons, but we buy back all sorts of things. We buy back bars, obviously, but we also buy back coins, and sometimes we get some fascinating coins that come through the door, and we never really sell them. We never really push them out the door again. You know, if we know someone's interested in them, we might mention it to them. But I just thought I'd take this chance on this quiet morning just to have a look at some of the things that come in and the way you can actually expand your stacking but add a bit of flavour to it, whether it be international flavour like the Krugerrands I've just shown, or whether it be old world flavour through to your gold collection, because you'll find that with a lot of these types of things that you can get really, really nice ones, and they're not much more than you're paying for a bar of gold or a bar of silver, because they unless they're certain years and the collectors are heavily pursuing those years, you'll actually find they go for spot +5, spot +10, those types of numbers, and by 5 and 10 I mean percentage above spot. And you get these fascinating coins that, you know, they highlight certain events in man's history, or certain cultures, or certain aspects, or just the fact that, I mean, these coins here, these are sovereigns. These coins I pretty much guarantee every single one of them is at least 100 years old. And the richness of these particular ones are Australian ones, but you can get sovereigns from Britain, obviously, from South Africa, from India. But the history, both positive and negative history of mankind and commerce and all those incredible things that we study at different times, these coins have seen it all. Some of these sovereigns have probably seen the gold rush in Australia. They've certainly been around since federation of our country. To hold one of those in your hand, I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm a bit odd. I'll quite happily admit to being a little bit odd. But I find it incredible, and the fact that you can still stack your gold and hold these incredible relics of history, or, you know, the Krugerrands here, a different, from me, a different culture. You know, I'm not South African, I'm Australian through and through, and but just to hold somebody else's currency, somebody else's history, both positively and negatively, it just it gives me goosebumps sometimes. So we are going to start listing some of these on the website, but it's not actually why I'm doing it. It's just to try and get people to step outside that culture of I just need a bar, you know, I just need the gold bar or the silver bar. I want close to spot as I can possibly get, and get people to start thinking slightly outside the box, that you can actually get, you know, Krugerrands, and you won't pay that much more than spot. You will pay more than spot, particularly in Australia, because one of the things that is fascinating is the way the Australian tax department deals with currencies. So these are considered to be non-pure because they aren't pure gold. You know, these are quite often they're 91.7%, or they might be 95%, or quite often they're 90% gold. So they incur GST in this country. So there's that on it as well. But you'll pay spot +5%, spot +10%, maybe even up to spot +20% in some cases. But for that small extra premium, you're gaining a couple of things. Like I said, you're gaining the goosebump factor, the history, or, you know, the international flavour to your collection. You're also potentially, to a small degree, developing that collector possibility of your stack, where, you know, there are certainly collectors out there that chase these different coins. You know, some of these. Sorry, let me skip over here, and I'll try and not give you vertigo while I'm doing it. So these are Krugerrands, and I find the Krugerrands fascinating because they're 1 ounce of gold, but they're not pure gold. So they are 1 ounce of pure gold, but they're contained in there, but they actually weigh more than an ounce because they are They are a compound. They're not a straight gold metal. They're an alloy, sorry, that's the word I was looking for, because they need the strength, because they are probably not so much these days, but they were designed to be a circulating currency. So they mix them with an alloy to make them stronger and able to stand up to the rigours of being handled back and forth. So they are still 1 ounce of gold, but you can get your fractionals in this. So these ones here are 1/4 ounce Krugerrands. So they're a 1/4 ounce of pure gold in them, but again, they're an alloy. So they're still worth that 1/4 ounce. And then we've even got, and these are, you don't see these in Australia. I don't know, I can't comment on in South Africa itself, but you don't tend to see these in Australia very often. These are 1/10 Krugers. So you can get that fractional size in the coins as well. I've only pulled a couple of these out, but we've got some, this is a 20 mark, Deutschmark gold coin from 1907. This one is a South African pond, and it looks like, and I'm looking through a camera here, but it looks like 1898. So you're talking 120, 130 years history there. And then obviously you've got one of my favourites, and you can't go past a sovereign, let's face fact. So, you can get that in there, and just amazing coins, amazing coins. So the sovereign, off the top of my head, is someone's going to correct me because I always get the sov wrong. I think there's 7.98 grams of gold. Anyway, someone will correct me, undoubtedly, but it's just less than 8 grams of gold, pure gold, contained in one of these. So it's just another flavour. It's just another thing to consider while you're stacking your gold and while you're stacking your silver. You can keep it domestic. I mean, there's 1966 50-cent pieces in Australia. There is, the Americans have their junk silver, which is, goes back into the early 1900s and that type of thing. And the same thing that's in the silver side. They also have, different gold that you can collect domestically. And in Europe and through Asia, it's the same. Why not step outside your normal collection and just consider getting some of these things? They might cost you a little dollar more here or there, but the conversation points that you can have with friends and family, particularly with kids, is just educational beyond belief. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox and I'll draw this to a good close here. So just a bit of thought for a public holiday. Have a think about branching out into some of these other areas, and you'll be surprised. You'll get an addiction, I almost guarantee it. All right, that's all for now. See ya.